Hi, my name is David Ashton. I'm joined by my colleague and partner, Stewart Gregory. We are both partners in Ricks & Kay's commercial property team. And today we thought it'd be worthwhile discussing rent deposits in particular, because landlords want to make sure that if there is a default under the terms of the lease, in particular during the current circumstances, that they can get paid. So, Stuart, if you are going to take the position of the landlord and I'll take the position of a tenant, why do we have to pay rent deposits?
Well, the simple answer is because in a lot of circumstances, I want some security for the payment of the rent and for performance of lease obligations. You keeping the property in repair, you decorating it, and the rent deposit gives us a really good, easy access to funds without needing to sue you for the rent or for specific performance for your lease obligations. So I think in certain circumstances, I would certainly be looking for that. And I think whilst not everybody's going to have to provide one, I acknowledge that. Certainly if you are a startup company, for example, I would certainly be looking for something. Any company that doesn't have a track record of trading, I think I'd be looking for that. Even if you're an established company, if I look at your accounts and they're not great, then I'm going to want some security for that.
So how much am I going to have to pay as a rent deposit?
My starting point, it certainly is going to be 6 months rent, but and it's important. Whilst that may be a starting point, a lot depends upon the market. A lot depends upon the covenant strength of the tenant, and there will be some instances where I'm going to be looking for more.
Okay. Well, equally, I assume that if it is a strong market for the landlord and there are lots of tenants out there looking for that type of property, and therefore the void period that you are concerned about of not receiving rental income will be a lot shorter if you can let it, and therefore there's potential that I could offer something like a 3-month rent as a tenant in a good market.
Well, that may be true, but remember that the rent deposit is not there just to pay the rent. The rent deposit is also there to back up the performance of your other covenants. So dilapidations could be a major issue.
Okay. So when might I get that rent deposit back?
You're not going to get that back until either the lease comes to an end or you transfer the property to an assignee, to a third party coming in and taking over that lease from you.
Okay, so if I could improve the financial position of the company tenant, then say, for instance, if I could show that the company was making a profit of at least 6 times more than the annual rent, or had a balance sheet of more than 10 times the annual rent, then perhaps we could have a provision in the heads of terms to repay that rent deposit early, because cash flow is very important from my perspective.
Yeah, I get that, and I also get that if you are now with us, that a financial strength that can be demonstrated to that extent, then it's probably not unreasonable of me to say in that scenario, yeah, you're clearly a good covenant, and we can perhaps relax the requirement. But and this is important, whatever we agree on in terms of the money, I'm going to want to know that money is secure, that I've got access to that money.
Yeah, and my concern would be that I would get that money back, and if the landlord was made insolvent, I wouldn't be losing that money to the liquidator or other creditors.
Yeah, okay, so I can accept that you would want to retain ownership of that money, but I think that it needs to be deposited with me, and I have a charge over it.
Okay.
So that I'm the secure creditor for the extent of the rent deposit.
Okay. Well, I think perhaps that's it for now, and we can look at alternatives to rent deposits. So hopefully this discussion has been helpful to those that have listened to it, and we'll say goodbye for now. Thank you.